Hello everyone and welcome to Unit 5, and this is the last video of this unit, and the last topic we are going to study is function recursion. Or recursion means calling itself, so function recursion means a function is going to call itself during its own execution. Okay, we are going to use the same function in the definition that we are calling. Okay, so it may sound a bit tricky or a bit confusing, and recursion functions can be a bit fuzzy sometimes, difficult to understand, and that is why they are not used much. You can also use function recursion for looping, and we are going to discuss function recursion in detail in miscellaneous concepts. Not in here, I'm going to just briefly discuss what is function recursion through an example. Okay, so let's have an example. So this is the function that I have written. This is a function recursion function that I have written. So the name of the function is REC, short for recursion, and its return type is void. And let's see what its definition is. So definition says if the value of the input x is 0, then the uh, function is going to return. And point to be note here, void functions or functions returning void or not returning nothing at all. Uh, in those functions also we can use return statements, and those return statements obviously are not going to return anything, but they will help us in terminating the program itself. Okay. So if the value of x is 0, then function is going to get terminated because return statement is going to get executed. Okay, else what is going to happen? Uh, else it is going to call itself once again, but with a decremented x, or the value of x is going to get decremented by 1, and then again the function is going to get called. Still, if x is not equal to 0, then again it is going to call until the value of x is 0 and it returns. As soon as the value of x reaches 0 and it is going to return, then the handle is going to go back to the previous function, because the previous recursion function was not terminated. I think that the statement that I just just told you right now was a bit confusing or bit confusing. So let's go with the flow, that how the flow of program is going. Okay, so let's run the program. So you can see in here right now the value of x is 5, and you can see in here thread that first main function was called, and we are right now on the recursion function, and main function is in sleep, or you can say the main function will be called once again after the execution of rectangle or sorry, not rectangle, recursion function is going to get terminated. As soon as it get terminated, the flow of control will again go back to main function. Okay, so let's go step by step, and you can see x is very obvious, not equals to 0. That is why we are going to get into the else part of if, and you can see in here we have one more REC function, because previous REC function was still not executed. Why it was not executed? Because we are right now on this state, we just triggered this statement, and this statement resulted in the recursion of this function once again, and you can see in here again the value of x is 4, but it is not 0, and you can see this will happen until we are having the x as 0. Now the value of x is 0 and it is going to return. Okay, and we have stacked 1 2 3 4 5 6. We have stack of 6 recursion function over here. Okay, and let's return this, and you can see in here uh, uh, after the uh, after the return of the first recursion function, the flow after the completion of first recursion function, the flow of control shifted to the previous recursion function when the value of x was 0, because the what was the result of this? What is this going to return? It returned nothing as soon as it was 0. Now 0 is going to get printed out. Okay, and we again go back go back to the previous recursion function where when the x value was 1 because this statement was not exited. Okay, and similarly we will see that we are going to get the numbers from 0 to 4 as an output. For better understanding, I have also made a diagram for you guys that, and these numbers represent the steps in the order in which these functions were called. First REC5 was called. After, as soon as REC5 was called, after that REC4 was called. Okay, after after REC4 was called, and after the execution of this, we were going to print 4. You can see in here when the value of x was 5, the x was not equal to 0, and then it resulted in the execution of REC4, and after this execution obviously this statement was going to get executed. So that is why I have written this print 4, because x was 4 at that time. But before compiling this statement, or before executing this statement, we need to complete this statement. Okay, we need to complete this statement, and for that we again went into an recursion, and you can see in here again the print 3 was there in REC4, and that's so on. The flow went like this from REC3 to REC2, then REC1, and as soon as we hit REC0, the program was terminated, and the flow again went back. After this statement was needed to get executed. After the execution of this statement, the REC1 was terminated, and similarly we get the pattern of print 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The flow went like this to this. Okay, I know this topic is a bit tricky to understand, so I would request you guys to go through this topic from the books, or you can even go check the websites like Geek for Geeks for this topic. And I think I have not done a good job while explaining this topic, because this topic is a bit tricky. So I want you guys, for better understanding, go through the books and read this topic thoroughly, so that you can get this point. Okay. So this was all about unit 5. Now see you in the next unit, that is unit 6.